Doctor Who has announced its spin-off, War Between the Land and the Sea, or something like that. And I don't know, my major response was, I didn't really have any interest. As I mentioned in the video when I first talked about it, zero interest. I'm probably not going to watch it. I just don't care. Doctor Who spin-offs have a hard time grabbing my attention. And I feel like Russell doesn't quite have his finger on the pulse of the fandom. Don't get me wrong, Sarah Jane Adventures hugely popular. Torchwood at one point hugely popular. I heard the last Torchwood miniseries wasn't that good. Sarah Jane Adventures hugely popular. I've seen a few episodes of it. I like what I saw. Class, of course, didn't do that well. K-Down and Company back in the day didn't do that well. But this one just doesn't do anything for me. Like, all the news I hear about it, I mean, it's hard enough getting fired up about the show proper, much less a spinoff. And I feel like several of you who watch my channel probably feel the same way. Your immediate response to the announcement of the spinoff due to what it is they announced, you're just... Focus on working on the main show first, Russell. And the thing is, I feel like there are several spinoffs you could do that would work. So today I'm going to talk about 3 Doctor Who spinoffs I want, and that I think would go over really well with the fandom. Number 1 on the list, the Time War miniseries with the 8th Doctor. Just give me that. Give me a miniseries, 6 to 8 episodes about the 8th Doctor during the Time War, and some of the stuff he had to go through. I want to see that. I have a feeling a lot of us want to see that. I mean, how many people would not want to see more McGann on the screen? I can't name a Doctor Who fan that's like, nah, we've had enough of that McGann guy. No one. No one. Everybody wants more McGann. Big Finish audio McGann stuff tends to be pretty good, especially the early stuff I hear. The stuff I've listened to, at least. I'm just kind of getting into 8th Doctor and Big Finish. But I liked what I've heard so far. And so I want more McGann. I like him in the TV movie. He's the best part of the TV movie. And this is someone who enjoys the TV movie. Night of the Doctor was great. I love when we got him a little bit in Power of the Doctor. I want more McGann on screen. And I feel like I speak for the fandom in this. So I can't believe that they just don't do that. Is Paul McGann busy? I mean, he might be. I don't know what all Paul McGann does with his career. He might be too tied up to do it. And if so, fair enough. But if McGann has the time to do it, come on in here, Paul. Let's go ahead and get them to do it. And I'm not asking for 5 seasons. I'm not asking for a 22-episode season. 6 to 8. Give me 6 to 8 episodes to do a nice mini-series. 6 to 8, knowing how many episodes it's going to be going in. And give me a nice little mini-series about a major adventure or a major thing that happened during the Time War. And if that miniseries did well, you could do a second miniseries. Like a V, the Final Battle second miniseries. And bring him back. That's a good way to gauge what fandom response would be. Just do 6 to 8 episode miniseries, see what the fan response is. It will be good. I can tell you now, it will be good. As long as it's well written. I mean, I wouldn't put it past Russell to somehow screw it up. But it could be good. I mean, that's a good recipe you have. Time War, Paul McGann back. You can do a lot with that. So as long as you actually write a good miniseries, people are going to be like... And they'll come back for a second one. This is not like... This isn't exactly rocket scientist to go, hey, this would be a great idea. I'm sure several of you watching are sitting there nodding sagely going, yes, I've had that idea. Give us that. That's what we want. Instead, War Between the Land and the Sea. And we're sitting there going, who asked for that? Did you ask for that? Prowl did not ask for that. Prowl doesn't need that. Prowl does not care. Meanwhile, nothing about bringing McGann back. Now, if War Between the Land and the Sea sneaks McGann in there, maybe I'll watch it. Take notes, Russell. The second one is, what was actually a rumor for it, that maybe they would do a story about villains, where each episode was about a different villain. I like that idea. I like the idea of episodes with Doctor Who villains when the Doctor's not there. Because one of the biggest weaknesses to some of the Doctor Who villains, let's use the Daleks as an example, is it's hard to keep them threatening when you know the Doctor is always going to win. because it's the Doctor, it's Doctor Who, the Doctor's going to win. Especially as often as the Daleks show up in the modern series, it's hard to make them threatening and dangerous and deadly when you know the Doctor's going to win. So if you put them in a story, and not just them, any of Doctor Who villains, but let's again use the Daleks as an example. You put them in a story with the Doctor not there, you have a chance for the Daleks to win. You have a chance for people to lose. You know, the Daleks could show up on a colony, on an asteroid, on a ship, and just annihilate, exterminate. You know, you could do an episode about the Daleks showing how deadly the Daleks are and how badly things can go when the Doctor's not there. You could do that with the Cybermen, with the whole group being assimilated at the end and nobody getting away and it being really dark. You could do that with the Angels. You could do that with the Vashna. All sorts of good horror episodes you could do with what these villains can do, how deadly they can be, how dark you can go with it if the Doctor's not there to save the day. I want to see that. Even if it's something, I'm trying to think of some more villains. The Primoids on Earth, you know, you run into a little isolated island where the ooze comes back out and the Doctor's not there, and by the end of it, you don't want to go to that island because everyone's Primoids at that point. You know, and it becomes this island where no one goes. You know, the shipmasters, you know, they'll be like the guy from the Horror of Fang Rock always warning about the beast, you know, Reuben. You know, nobody goes to that island, it's cursed, you know. Nobody goes there. That would be cool. See, I would enjoy something like that. So, yeah, give me an episode. Again, you could just do a miniseries, 6 to 8 episodes. Each episode about a different Doctor Who villain or nemesis. You could even have an episode with the Master. And you could do Michelle Gomez. You could do Eric Roberts, an older Eric Roberts. That'd be fun. You could do Sasha. You could do John Sims. You could do any of the surviving Masters, really. You could even do Jeffrey Beavers back in the makeup. Do something with that. You could show Jeffrey Beavers getting turned into the burnout crispy Master. That'd be interesting. You could have one with him. Maybe the Great Intelligence. Bring back Richard E. Grant. That'd be interesting. You could do something with that. So there's a lot you could do with that premise, and I would really like it. The third one would be kind of like the Night Gallery. If anyone is ever familiar, there is a show here in the U.S. called Night Gallery. And it was made by Rod Serling, who, of course, did The Twilight Zone. And I love the original Twilight Zone so much. So if you're familiar with The Twilight Zone, you know who Rod Serling is. Well, after Twilight Zone, he hosted a similar show called The Night Gallery, which was an anthology series, much like The Twilight Zone. And at the beginning of each episode, he would feature a painting, and the painting would have something to do with the episode. You could do something like that. You could have it set up in this kind of museum. Each episode is a painting. The host could be a guy. Let's call him the curator. And you could have different actors playing the curator. You could have Colin Baker as the curator, because Big Finish, I think, has done that. You could have Sylvester McCoy as the curator. You could bring back Christopher Eccleston as the curator, probably not with the current Doctor Who production team, but I can dream. You know, you could bring back Peter Capaldi as the curator, because it's already been mentioned, the curator likes to revisit old faces, the old favorites. You could even bring back Tom Baker if Tom Baker was willing for an episode. I mean, I know he's 90, he would probably be retired from that, but again, I can dream. The point is, being the curator, you could have any of the previous Doctors playing him throughout this miniseries. So whichever one you went with, and you could have him almost like he's leading a tour, but again, he's just talking to us, the audience, and he's talking about a painting. And each painting has a story or legend behind it. And then the Doctor would introduce the painting, and it would transition to whatever that story was about. And again, you could do different type stuff there. You could do horror, you could do drama, you could do a nice Western, you could do stuff with a twist, you could have it very Twilight Zone / Night Gallery feel to it. Oh, one of the best pieces of horror television or movies I've ever seen is actually from the pilot to the Night Gallery, which is actually 3 episodes. The middle one I don't think I was keen on, but the book ending 2 are really good. But one of them has Roddy McDowall in it. I love me some Roddy McDowall, where he plays a nephew with a very rich uncle who's in poor health. And that is one of my favorite pieces of television. It's just so well made. It's so good. I would love to see something like that done. If you've never seen it, check it out. It's really, really good. It's the reason why I like Roddy McDowall as much as I do. I mean, plus I like him in a lot of other stuff. Fright Night, Fantastic Journeys, and a good episode of Columbo, Planet of the Apes, all that fun stuff. But this is what made me a Roddy McDowall fan, was his part in Night Gallery. And you could do stuff like that, have good horror stuff, good sci-fi stuff, a nice variety. You could actually make a spin-off Doctor Who anthology series, much in the vein of Night Gallery and The Twilight Zone and Black Mirror and all that stuff. And the connecting factor to Doctor Who would be the curator introducing each story with a painting, like in Night Gallery. I love that idea. Russell, hit me up. Hit me up. It's a great idea. So that's just 3 thoughts I would like to see for spin-off shows, which are way more exciting to me than The War Between the Land and the Sea, So I want to know what you think of my ideas and what ideas you might have for a good Doctor Who spin-off series. Comment down below and let's talk about it. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button. I also have a Patreon if you would like to support me on that. I want to give a shout out to Colin Coney, one of my top tier patrons. I appreciate his support, and as I do the support of all of my patrons and all of my YouTube members. It's very much appreciated. I also have a P.O. box. If there's anything you'd like to send me to look at and review, I would absolutely love to get that Season 1 Steelbook. I am just not at a spot where I can really throw the money down on that right now. Most of you know I have financial goals I'm trying to meet. My patrons definitely know. So if anyone would love to send that, it would absolutely make my day. I'd love to have that Steelbook. It's such a pricey Steelbook when you factor in shipping. I have a link to my Amazon wish list below. A link to my Amazon UK wish list is also below. I think I have that Steelbook on the UK wish list as well. Most importantly, thank you for watching.